Tomorrow night we've got, is this right, Don Rickles. He's got some nerve. Hey, did you know he broke my cigarette box? Yes! And that is not just some weird and wild stuff. It's practically a family heirloom, my cigarette box. Zsa Zsa Gabor once graced it with her Zsa-Zas. Yes!
I think we'll need to...
Shut up, Marilyn!
The Mark Roman Empire. Also, a podcast. This week's episode, Pandemic Check-ins, Part 2. Anyway, a few tourniquets and some super glue later. That's how I got Charlie out of the chocolate factory. Oh wait, I gotta do some here. Here, hold that. It's showtime!
All right, episode 26, dated the 1st of April, 2020. I don't think any of us are in the mood for April Fool's jokes right now, are we? Yeah. Well, hey, but we're nearly back on schedule with the podcast, kids. Almost there. I think this is probably coming out on Thursday instead of Wednesday, but it's a lot better than a Sunday, okay? So, thanks for bearing with me. And speaking of that cable, that damn XLR to USB cable, so instead of using this silly grandpa laptop built-in microphone, I can actually use my Shure PGA 48 or X48 PGA, whatever it's called. It's a microphone I hold in my hand, like I'm a professional, performer and stuff. So I've got it. I just can't plug it in. But Monday, it's supposed to be in. So here's to hoping for next week, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me and bearing with me. These issues in the early days of the Empire. Even though we're like a quarter through the first 100, right? That's kind of cool. So I guess it sounds like there's a little hope with the pandemic, maybe? Like maybe the curve's flattening a little, the social distancing's working, maybe the numbers are going down a little bit in Washington. I don't know. I'm not in a rush to grab onto too much hope there because I see a lot of stupid people continuing to do stupid stuff, whether it's that lady in the luxury SUV who, as I'm crossing in front of her on a side street between apartment buildings, like there's no traffic. Like there's no traffic in LA at all right now, okay? But like she was in the least traffic zone possible in a town filled with no traffic for the first time ever. And she's looking around, scanning, like hunched forward, like she's about to punch her accelerator. She's looking at everything but the flesh-covered human directly in front of her 3,000-pound luxury SUV. Oh, yeah, that was me. Yeah. So, I'm like, can you just look at me, lady? All right? Like, you're still social distancing from me. It's over 6 feet. You've got, like, glass and metal between you and me. I just want to know you know I'm there and you're not about to run over me. That's all I'm asking. Can we do that? So, I see that. I see people in stores not really doing the 6-foot thing, on sidewalks, like I'll walk in the street. I do everything I can, give a wide berth. And I see some people, they're doing the right thing. They're on the same page, but not everybody's with the program. So I'm a little, I don't know. But I feel like we're kind of figuring out that, yeah, we're going to be doing this for a few more weeks, a few more months, but, we'll get through this. We got through 9/11. We got through The Big Short. We got through World War II. I mean, Jesus, we got through a lot of stuff. We'll get through this. It's just, there's going to be a lot of splaining to do, I think. Anyway, that's stuff for another podcast. Hey, guys, remember last week how I promised a new page at markromanempire.com? For all you bored people, well, I delivered. Go to markromanempire.com and click in the menu, bored? There's already 26 things to do there. And I haven't even really started on the list yet. You're welcome. By the way, if you know anyone who needs any sound work, my sound guy, Ollie, might be able to help. As you might remember from the episode last week, he was laid off from his main gig due to the pandemic, so he'd really appreciate the work. You can find him on his Instagram, Ollie Holliday. That's spelled Ollie HOLLIDA. Look for the puppy. Is it a pug? I know it's not a Dalmatian. Also look for the Union Jack, because he's from Australia. No, he's not. He's from the Queen's England. Yeah, that's stuff. Sorry, I gotta mess with you a little bit. All right. Last week was part 1 of the pandemic check-ins. This week, we wrap it up with part 2. More on this week's guest in a minute. Let's do a little quick Hero Tier update. As many of you know, my cause is Hero Tier, a word I coined a decade ago. I grabbed hero, I grabbed volunteer, and I brought them together. Finally. Now we are up to 44 Hero Tiers since the last weekly podcast I recorded a few days ago. So bear that in mind. But it's resulted in $576.50 in direct cachet to Venka. Not too shabby, guys. Now that we've mostly caught up with the podcast here, let's see if I can catch up on some of the results numbers and other stuff for Hero Tier by next week. I'm pretty proud of today. Got a lot of cool things done today. I knew today there's going to be a lot, but we got it done. The cards for Hero Tiers number 4 video just dropped. I had a bunch of challenges with getting the video. It's a little longer than I wanted, but a lot of cool stuff in it and some catch up from last week. Sort these things out, guys. All right, give me a few more episodes. We'll get in the swing of things. We'll get this a little better oiled, smoothed out. So thanks for hanging in there, guys. With Hero Tier, you can follow on the Instagram at Hero Tiergram, and we'll have lots of new stuff coming, as well as we already got it now. Check it out at herotier.org, especially on the Who page. Got a lot of cool photo collages, give you an idea of who the current Hero Tiers already are, and help you make you, wonder, gee, why am I not on that list? Now, this week we've got a new segment I'm pretty excited about. The Connor Caveat. Connor's my son. Yeah, I have a son. And he's usually studying chemistry at Syracuse University over on the other coast. Anyway, whether I'm a proud dad or not, it is a fact. Connor is an honors student, and he's kind of already a scientist. He's doing some lab and other work. He seems to know a thing or two. And as the son of Elmer Gantry's bitch, I'm just glad he didn't end up one of the characters of the Royal Gemstones. So, winning! And I thought maybe if I could share a conversation with Connor every so often here on the pod, I think you guys might dig it. So, let's try it out. Here's our inaugural Connor Caveat.
Connor.
Yo.
My son.
Yeah.
A lot of people are surprised because you and I are not in the same city. When I mention that I have a son, they're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, "How old is he?" As if like you're in the 3rd grade or something. And I respond, "Well, he's old enough to drink, and he's closer to becoming a professor than ending high school." So there's that. So let everyone know who are you? What are you doing these days?
Well, hello. My name's Connor, if you didn't know. I'm currently a student at Syracuse University. I study chemistry, but I work more so in the biochemical molecular biology field. Science words, fancy. Basically, I work with bacteria to make proteins.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been working in a lab for doing undergraduate research for the past 3 semesters, and I mean, I would be doing it now if it wasn't for the current circumstances. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on.
So how recently were you at Syracuse, and where are you now?
Sorry, what was that?
How recently were you at Syracuse, and where are you now?
Oh yeah, I was at Syracuse. Oh, let's see, somewhere around the. Yeah. I was in Syracuse probably about a little bit more than a week ago. Actually, a little bit, almost 2 weeks ago. At this point, gosh, time goes by quickly. No,
Right.
I flew out the 19th, Thursday, And honestly, it was kind of crazy because, that was spring break during that point,
Oh,
and I
that's
was
right.
honestly expecting to stay home. But with everything going on, I'm glad that we got flights taken care of sooner than later since New York closed up not too soon after that. So,
Right?
yeah, it was it was a good timing just to get out, but I'm glad that I did because it is nice being back home in, Washington. It's nice and pleasant over here. The temperature is consistently 50 degrees. It's
Now,
vaguely
is this
rainy.
Washington, D.C. or Washington State?
Washington State. I'm a bigger fan of the West Coast personally, even though I study in Syracuse,
Yeah,
in
you
the
do like
East
the
Coast of New
colder
York.
climes, don't you? You were born in Michigan, so there's that.
Yeah, no, it's been an interesting time. I've lived to some degree in, gosh, roughly 4 states now, which is kind of wild.
For Okay, I'm counting Washington, Michigan, New York.
A little bit of California.
That's true. California, a couple times.
Yeah.
Also Vermont.
Vermont to a degree, but that was just for about a week. Still, it
With
was a nice time then.
with
It was snow
my
encrusted.
Aunt Susan. I guess your great aunt.
Yes. No, they were very pleasant people. It was a shame I
Yeah,
couldn't work in the garden with them, but it was what 2 to 3 feet of snow over there. Real chilly too. They had a
that was
really neat
Vermont.
house where they had insulation
Yeah,
so
they're
good they
building
didn't
it.
have to have proper heating. Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, they went from Georgia, nice and mild, all the way
Mhm.
to Vermont.
Yeah. But they seem to be enjoying themselves, and I think that's what matters.
Right. Now, what else do you
Yeah.
do at Syracuse? Are you just studying the chemistry, or doing anything else there?
Oh gosh. Well, let's see here. I'm the parliamentarian of the chemistry fraternity, Alpha Chi Sigma. It always is entertaining to see people uh, react to say when I'm part of fraternity, but it's very different than all the social ones. It's a professional, dry fraternity. It's a bunch of nerdy people come together and talk about inconsequential political
how,
things. Not even
how do
political
people
things like,
normally
oh hey,
respond when you tell them you're in
funding
a
and
fraternity?
yeah, it's it's more bureaucratic stuff than anything, but it's nice. You get to meet nice people, and that's what matters. I'm also part of the gaming club, which isn't necessarily video games, though we do part of that. It's more of like a Friday game night kind of thing. You get a bunch of people together, you play board games. I'm the external games coordinator, fancy term for the guy that
It
helps people
sounds
do stuff
fancy.
outside of it. Yeah, looks nice on a resume to say the least. But
I was gonna say, do you have a business card?
yeah, no.
You
What
should.
else? Honestly, that would be good. I have a little fancy thing on my email to have all the little things that I do. What else besides that?
Didn't you
I
start
do.
a group at Syracuse?
Yeah, no. So a subsidiary of the gaming club is the Syracuse Dungeons and Dragons community. It's still a very small group currently. Just what is it? The rough size is somewhere between 20 to 30 people. But it's just like people interested in Dungeons and Dragons and role playing games, getting together, being in communication with one another, and just having a support group. Which I'm happy to have something like that set up.
Now, before you came to Syracuse, had there ever been a Dungeons and Dragons society at Syracuse University?
Not that I know of. There could have, but there's nothing official about it. In terms of clubs, official clubs that are funded, no, there's nothing related to that. I think most of the things or groups that existed were very insular and disconnected.
Copy that. So it's fair to say that you've added something new to the Syracuse campus.
I'd like to think so, but we're not anything properly official now, and depending on how things go, we we'll see how things progress in the coming semester or two. If epidemic is
What's your
going and close
take
down.
on this? The whole pandemic. How do you? Because we were just talking about it a few weeks ago and kind of blowing it off a little bit, but here we are. What's your perspective on it?
I say the worst thing you can do is panic and go crazy, as well as think that it's nothing and there's no problem. It's a matter of extremes. You need to be somewhere in the middle of, yes, we're going through a pandemic. No, you don't have to freak out. Toilet paper is not something you need to rush for. You just, you gotta just.
Why toilet paper, right? Like, of all the things. Like,
No,
how do you
actually,
eat
this is
toilet paper?
freaking human monkey psychology. Like, we're all a bunch of apes, just monkey see, monkey do. You see this person grab a bit of toilet paper? Oh, toilet paper's important. We go get that toilet paper.
Yep.
Suddenly, more people get it. Mob dynamics. Bam, toilet paper is all gone. Everybody ate it up, apparently. You know? Ah,
Damn, son, you are a scientist.
freaking humans. Well, on the bright side, in terms of climate change, this has really helped lower emissions of everything. So,
Right?
There's that.
No, it's amazing. When I could hike running, I'd look down in the LA basin, downtown LA, and up to the Pacific, and it had just rained, but still, like, usually there'd be still some smog that had accumulated already. The distances I could see, it's
Right.
just amazing.
Yeah. And the one downside is, with all the climate deniers that are going about, realistically, because of just the short period of time that we're probably going to stay in lockdown type conditions, we won't see a direct impact that is clearly and definitively something to show later on. Like, oh, we saw this decrease in, decrease in ambient world global temperatures, which is, unfortunate. But at the same time, we have clearer air for a little bit. So, you can't complain too much. Overall, I think this is going to be by no means a net good thing. A lot of people are going to die. A lot of people are going to die unnecessarily based off of a variety and combination of just poor choices made overall.
Right.
By a wide variety of people. But to at least look on the brighter side, we hopefully will be smarter about this. We hopefully should have a better understanding of how our various governments, react to these things, how we interact with one another, how we react to extreme situations like this. This is not going to be the last epidemic that we're going to be facing in the coming future. This is
That's for sure.
just one of the more extreme ones that we've faced recently. And I think it's important that we just stay very clear and just very aware of what's going to be coming in the future. Nonetheless, just don't freak out. Seriously.
Right?
Like, it's just,
It's
a matter of
Jason
perspective.
Thompson, one of my buddies. He was on the first part of this episode. He checked in with some past podcast guests. He does a bunch of impersonations, but he's from Australia, and he also does an impression, an act of the Queen of England. And he always likes to reference, he always likes to reference her dictum back during World War II to kind of calm citizens. And it was you've probably seen it, the meme. It's got the crown that says "Keep calm, carry on."
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize. I thought that was just some silly meme someone had dreamed up, but apparently it goes way back to World War II.
Yeah. I mean, technically, that still is a meme. It's just a non-internet meme.
Yeah, right. A pre-internet meme.
Yeah.
Well, Connor, I know we don't have a lot of time here together, but on the first Connor caveat, but I understand that you're a bit of a green thumb, a gardener. Is this true?
Oh yeah, I've honestly been gardening on and off since elementary school. When we actually got like a proper property to start a garden, I dug it up myself, roughly 10-foot by 10-foot square of earth, sowed my own seeds, and didn't really grow anything too well because it turns out you need fertilizer and good soil that isn't just clay. But yeah, it's
what
been a
is
wild
the
ride.
normal soil like there in Bellingham in Washington? What is it like?
Just acidic clay, terrible for any kind of crop that you have besides maybe herbs and dandelions. But
so you really had to work it. You had to bring in a bunch of fertilizer and treat it.
My soil is not fertile by any means. Well, I mean, nowadays it's a lot better because compost and adding.
That's what he said.
Ha ha. But yeah, no, I'm good with sowing seed, handling my hose, all that kind of stuff. Proper gardening things.
I'm glad I marked this podcast explicit, Connor. This
Of
is good.
course. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just talking about basic horticultural practices. You know, I don't know what you're talking about.
I understand. So,
Yeah.
didn't you? I understand you spent a quick moment in Madrid, in Spain.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
didn't you teach some folks some gardening over there too?
Yeah, that was an interesting time. That was my first semester in college, but basically, I just wanted to get involved in something there in the institute that I was studying in for the moment. And apparently, there was a bit of a gardening group that was going, what's the term? Going, just kind of not really being active. It was inactive, let's say. And so I
Dormant,
said, hey,
perhaps.
what can I do? And they said, hey, you want to just show people how to do stuff? And I was like, So I went over and basically showed a bunch of just random, friendly Spanish families basic practices like fertilizing, sowing seeds. It was in the fall time, so it wasn't the best time to teach, of course, hence the inactivity. But, some people came in. Honestly, I think they came in more to show their kids, a native English speaker. But it was still a nice time.
Well, at least now, what do you have growing right now in your garden?
Oh gosh, I'm a bit of a wild person with growing. I like to do a bit more of a not necessarily efficient, but high capacity gardening method. Basically, planting as many seeds and plants as possible while retaining good soil. So I'm growing kale, potatoes, peas, beans, cucumbers, carrots, chard, garlic, onions, leeks. What else? Spinach, lettuce,
Nice.
and of course, various herbs such as cilantro, rosemary, basil. Bunch of parsley. Parsley grows so well here.
Oh, does
And
it?
yeah, and thyme.
Nice. Of course, you have to have time. I feel like
Yeah.
you got to complete the what was it, the Simon and Garfunkel song?
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Your mom will know, or her mom,
Of course.
who's no longer with us, who was a genuine hippie. So
Yeah.
good stuff. Well, since you've got the qualifications here, a lot of folks now are kind of reverting back to what happened during World War II, and they had the Victory Gardens. Since
Right.
a lot of stores have been shutting down, and there's shortages of not just toilet paper. So there's a lot of people thinking, well, maybe I want to grow a garden. Some people they've
Right.
got a backyard and soil they could plant in. Maybe it's good soil, maybe it's not. There's other people though that maybe they're in a condo or they're in an apartment and so they don't really have an outdoors or backyard, but maybe they've got a little planter they can work with. So what are some thoughts you might have on people that are kind of curious about how to get started with gardening?
Well, I mean, first off, good on you. It's a really rewarding, hobby once you actually get into it. When you're first
Right.
starting off, I think some of the most important things is you're not growing necessarily plants in the first place. You're growing soil. You really need
Oh,
to
really?
know what you're working with, especially for early gardeners. You're probably more than likely going to be working with some pretty not good soil unless you're buying directly from the stores, which is unlikely given the current circumstances. So,
Right.
with what you have, I highly recommend you start off with herbs. Herbs are incredibly hardy and resilient plants. They grow like weeds because they basically are weeds that just happen to taste really good, so we cook with them. So,
Makes
if you're to
sense.
start off, I highly recommend you get those. Honestly,
What are
a
some
lot
good
of
herbs to start with?
Oh
Would you say?
god, I mean, be careful of this because a lot of these herbs will actually grow like weeds. Mint. If you just pick off a little bit of mint, you put it in water, let it root until it just grows maybe, like a quarter of an inch of roots, then stick it into some nice soil. You're gonna have mint for the rest of your life. It will grow crazily. What else? Thyme, oregano, as I said, parsley. Those all grow really nicely. Be careful about parsley because parsley takes like a month for its seeds to properly germinate. So
Oh, really?
a lot of these guys, you got to be patient, because an important part of gardening is no matter what you're growing, you're not going to get it in a day or two. It may take a month, may take 2 months, may take 3 months even, but you have to be patient. You got to be loving. And, plants to some degree are your kids. You got to take care of them, and it's going to be a pain. You might not get what you want, but at the end of the day, it's yours. And hopefully you got something you can be proud of.
Well,
yeah.
if they turn out to be kids like you, Connor, I think everybody can be very proud.
Gee, thanks.
I know I am. I know. I'm your dad. I got to say that. Well, thanks, Connor. I think we gave people a little something to think about, a little encouragement. And I don't know, what do you think? You liking the Connor caveat here?
Yeah, I think it's fun enough. I wouldn't mind coming back again.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Well, we'll see what we do here. I'm kind of digging it.
Cool.
Well, you look after the garden there. Struggle through your classes there out of your bedroom,
I'll try.
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe we can do this again on a future podcast.
Sure. No, I think that'll be fun. All right.
All right, Connor. I love you.
Talk to you later.
I'll talk to you.
Well, that was a fun chat with Connor. Let me know what you think. Maybe we'll do that again sometime. All right, on the second half of our pandemic check-ins, the final episode of all of this, we check in with Ace Catano of Ground Game LA. We wrap up, pick up where we left off, because he kind of left us hanging in the last episode. So we finish up with Ace. We also chat with Stephanie Estes. You might have heard my interview with her previously on episode 7. She's a working actor between pandemics, as we all are, those of us who are working actors. But you can see her play Sarah the teacher in Tales from the Loop. That's on Amazon April 3rd, which hopefully is day after tomorrow, although it might be tomorrow. I kind of feel like this episode's going to come out on Thursday. It's all right. Got pretty close to getting caught up here. I'm okay with that. Let's see. We also check in with Sean Schaefer. Sean is a director of photography out in New York State. He's the host of the Weekend Take podcast. He hasn't been on my podcast, but I was on his podcast. So we have a cool chat with Sean. Good industry guy. Also, we check in. Oh, this is, I mentioned about this last week. This was an intense carnival ride of an interview with Deborah Hayden and her husband, Mars Roberge. Mars, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Is it Roberge? I think it's Roberge. As opposed to Robert? I don't know. Deborah loves French stuff, so I kind of feel like it's Robert. Silent G. Sorry, Mars. I haven't met you in person. That's my excuse. But we had a really cool conversation with Mars and Deborah. Deborah, I previously interviewed solo back on episode 7. She's an actor. She's really a Renaissance human. She's got a lot of different things that she can do and is doing. Literally too many to mention. You really want to listen to my interview with her in episode 7. But she also plays Christine in the film Scumbag back in 2017, which, of course, Mars is a writer, director, producer. He wrote, directed, and produced Scumbag. Now, he's just finished principal photography on his latest film, which Deborah also stars in. And they have a unique distinction of having the last film production to wrap principal photography in New York City right before the pandemic really hit and the city shut down. So that is an intense conversation. You can feel the intensity of it that I had with Deborah and Mars. Really cool. And then Sammy obeyed. Sammy, I'm so sorry. 1,000 pardons. I forgot. I neglected to mention you in the Cards for Hero Tears 4 video I just dropped on YouTube. I've been rushing trying to get all the stuff done today. I'm sorry, Sammy, but I already gave you lots of good reasons to listen to this podcast. Sammy is definitely the icing on the cake. Previously interviewed him on episode 5, but if you've been watching your Netflix, and I know you have, we all have, okay? And you notice in your top 10, you see that show, 100 Humans? Yeah, Sammy's the dude in the white lab coat. Because there's only one dude. The other two are ladies. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool show. And he's on it. Really happy for him. He also is the guy who set a world record. I don't care if he didn't pay the licensing fee to Guinness. In my book, it's a world record. You earned it, Sam, because you performed 1,001 consecutive nights of comedy. Show me someone else who's done that. No, that's Sammy Obeid's claim, and he did it. He's got lots of evidence of it, too. Talk to the people that laughed at his jokes in all kinds of crazy settings. Oh, did I mention? Yeah, he's running for president. No, not this year. He's running in 2036. Yeah. I even got his t-shirt. It's a cool t-shirt. It's so cool. I don't think you can buy it right now because they're out of stock. Anyway, Sammy kind of wraps things up. Great 2 episodes that we've got here, guys. I'm really happy how this all turned out. Next week, I'm about 98% certain. I got an interview scheduled tomorrow, and if for some reason we got to reschedule it, I'm pretty sure we'll be back to the solo person interview per episode starting next week. But you never know. I mean, you know, I do this podcast in the footsteps of giants like Mark Maron and Bill Burr and Kevin Pollak and Greg Proops. So, you know, sometimes it's out of my little domicile here. Sometimes it's at a location that's kind of groovy. Sometimes we get a group of people together, even if it's virtual and remote. I'd love to do a live thing one of these days, back when we can, as a culture, get back to doing live stuff. So, you never know. You never know. Anyway, let's check in with some more groovy humans, shall we? Let's do it.
Ace, welcome back.
Hey.
What's the late breaking news?
It was just kind of a check-in on the part of the head of the department. There's also some concern about, one of the other courts was shut down because a public defender did test positive for COVID. That's over in the Valley, though, so it doesn't affect me directly, but not great. So,
right. Now, are you required to go in at this point?
Not right now. I'm teleworking.
Good to hear. Well, thank you for being a hero tier. In fact, you were also a recent latest operation to keep room for Venka. So thank you very much. You're one of 8. And we didn't hit our goal. We only hit about 20% of it. But the charity that was providing her with that first week in the hotel 6 room, they extended it another week. So for the moment, she's not going back to the car.
Well, that's good.
And she's got some needed financial relief.
That's good.
$100 of cash aid this past week, in part thanks to you. So thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
And you also got some entries, so you got a good shot at winning. I think we got a total of 40 entries, and you've got a handful of them to win that that Donald Trump, John D. Domenico impersonation shout out video. You got any ideas of what, if you win, what you might have John say as Trump?
Oh God, I haven't even thought about it yet. I should come up with something.
You should, because I'm probably going to do the cards for Hero Tiers a little later today. It's planning next week, but I figured just wrap it up today. So you never know. It's $150 value normal. That's over on Cameo. Well, thanks again for being involved with Hero Tier. And I know we've got on our Hero Tier COVID-19 page at the very top the Ground Game LA resources, both that are offered and also, when folks can offer help, they can coordinate that. So can you tell us a little bit about that, how it came about, and how people can get involved with that?
Well, we've Ground Game LA is a community organizing group we're based in Hollywood, but we work all over the city. So when everything started going to hell, basically, we decided to get together and take some action and set up a mutual aid project. So mutual aid basically being the idea that, people are contributing to take care of their neighbors and also to take care of themselves and to get help for themselves. So we have a fundraiser that we've had going to raise money to
Oh, cool.
purchase supplies and to distribute emergency funds to people who might be losing hours or losing their job or facing other issues as a result of the pandemic. And also, I think you have the form up there, the intake form, which is both for people who are volunteering and for people who are requesting help. And we've got it
Good.
up
Yeah,
there.
we had the link to that farm. So yes.
Yes, we've actually got that translated into Spanish and Korean now too.
Oh, Korean now as well. Fantastic.
Yeah, and we're going to have Armenian pretty soon also. So
Now, is this strictly for people who live in Los Angeles, or?
this is for people who live in Los Angeles, because that's where
Okay. Makes
where we
sense.
are.
Right.
There are different efforts going on all over the country in a lot of different places. So we've modeled some of our processes after what they've done elsewhere and what has been done by other folks before us. There are lots of groups that engage in mutual aid efforts, especially after in the wake of disasters and so forth. But we were able to get going very quickly because of how we tend to organize. So we have very exhaustive sanitation procedures that were designed by a member who was a Army medic, and she's making sure that everything that goes out, all the supplies that go out, all the aid that goes out is completely sterile, so that we're not contributing to the
good.
problem by spreading around.
Right.
You don't want somebody to show up with groceries for delivery and get the virus from them. So
It feels like not a lot. We've been really slow as a nation and as even as organizations to recognize the necessity of that and actually create a system to address it. Am I the only one noticing that, or?
No, I think that's fair. The national response was really slow because our president is not really psychologically or intellectually equipped to handle something like this. So a lot of states and cities have had to cobble together their responses piecemeal, and a lot of folks like our group and others have had to step up and take action where the government might not be doing enough. So,
Well, bravo to you guys for doing that, because I know you're also a political advocacy organization, and
yes.
I've noticed in trying to help Venka, I see people make comments, and some of them go into a religious direction, some of them go into a political direction. A dispute is created, and justifications are made to not give Venka help. And I'm sitting back witnessing this, thinking, well, how can we save those disputes for when Venka has her own home and you can sit in her living room and share some tea with you, and then you can go over the differences politically. And I just want to congratulate Ground Game LA, because I see you guys doing what Hero Tier has been doing, which is, you have some core beliefs, but you're also recognizing that there's just a bunch of hurting humans out there, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, conservative, liberal, registered to vote, not registered to vote. They need our help, and you guys are stepping up. So I'm assuming, and please confirm or clarify, this help that you're offering, and if people want to get involved to help, there's no political qualifications for it, right? You don't have to think a certain way to.
No, there's no. This is just no strings attached. It's just about action. But if you've heard, if you've talked to Kendall about these sort of things, she always points out nothing we're interested in is actually that radical in the scheme of things. It's not radical to think that people deserve to have food and a roof over their head. It's not radical to think that people should be taken care of in the event of a disaster like this. This stuff is this is normal, right?
It is interesting how suddenly a lot of those basic human needs that there might have been one political perspective a few weeks ago. Now it seems like everybody's on the same page of this is not a political thing. This is just a human need thing, and yeah, let's do this. And
Yeah.
it might have had labels before, but now it's just let's just do this.
And you see a lot of action being taken that
Yeah.
was even by people who are not
Unthinkable.
radical, and they start doing things now under this circumstance. It becomes clear that, hey, we could have been doing things before. We could have been taking more action. I mean, the mayor of LA just put a freeze on Ellis Act evictions, which are when somebody's trying to take a building off the market to either tear it down or convert it into condos or something like that, to take it out of the rental market. The state law allows them to throw everyone on the street, but the mayor declared a freeze on those evictions, and that's something that
Good.
advocates had been asking for years and
Yeah,
not
right.
getting. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it's like, hey, you actually could have done this. The sky doesn't fall,
Right.
the world doesn't collapse in on itself when you take this sort of action that we've been asking for. Like, huh? Surprise,
Right.
surprise.
Makes you think.
Yeah. But
Well, Ace,
there's
I want
also, but there's one more thing we have going on, which is the Neighborhood Pod program.
Oh, what's that?
So if you go to bit.ly / and this is all caps LANPP, it's the Los Angeles Neighborhood Pod Project. And so what we're doing there is it has resources and information for a person to sort of organize their building or block or their locality in order to sort of get everybody in touch with each other, not physically in touch, obviously, right now, but to make sure that people are able to get whatever assistance they need and that they have people to back them up. And so that's like some very direct, super local organizing that we've been, the sort of stuff we've been working on for the past 3 years, but it's had a really good response. A lot of people are interested in learning how to organize their immediate neighborhood because there's a lot that can be done in that way, and a lot of obvious need. And so that has resources too to get that off the ground in your own neighborhood really quick.
Oh, really cool. Fantastic.
So, we're just trying to get people working together and helping each other so that we can all make our way through this.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to have to wrap it up here. We got a few more people I want to squeeze in.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for taking time with us, Ace, because I know you're just super busy there, both with your day job and also with all your activities with Ground Game LA. What's the best way for people to, because they, of course, can reach that intake page on our COVID-19 page at puretear.org, but how do they, they're in their browser right now and they want to go direct to Ground Game on the intranets? What's that website?
You can always go to groundgamela.org, or now we have a website specifically for the Mutual Aid Project, just mutualaidla.org, and that has all the info. It's actually a really gorgeous website that's up now, so you should check it out. And it has a ton of information and ways to access all of the things that we were discussing. And yeah, it actually, I'm just looking at it right now and it came out very clean. So,
good.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Well, thanks again for everything, Ace. I'm glad that you guys are hanging in over there at the compound, the four of you. And thanks again for all the great work that Ground Game LA continues to do and how they're expanding to, directly meet the needs that's in the community literally by the second. So
absolutely. Well, thanks for talking to me.
Oh, my pleasure. We'll talk to you, brother. Stephanie, how you doing?
Oh, I'm hanging in there.
It's kind of a question we took for granted in the past, but now it actually has all this weight to it, doesn't it? How are you doing?
So much weight. And it has also made me reevaluate. How am I doing? I have food to eat. I have a roof over my head. Do you know what I mean? It really puts a lot of things into perspective. So by all those measures, I am doing just fine. I have my health. So yeah,
that's important these days.
It is, yeah. It's a loaded question.
Absolutely. Well, what I've done, I created this cause called Here It's Here to help friend of mine from a previous life, previous industry, who's been homeless and kind of upgraded it in light of the pandemic to also help fellow creatives and just provide resources.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out again because I remember you had sent it's Venka, right? Up in Northern California? Yeah, I remember I donated to her a while ago.
That's right, you did. Well,
yeah,
can I
admirable.
Can I award you a Here Tier spot?
Oh, sure. Sure.
I don't do this for everyone. For people that I know have already helped in the past, because it's just $5 to get involved. But yeah, you are officially Anno Domini. I'm doing the sign of the cross here and the crescent. And,
I'm bowing down.
The Star of David, Shalom, Namaste. You are officially Hero Tier number 42.
Thank you, sir. And I wanted to say it's so admirable that you've continued to, get that cause out there because it's important.
Oh, you're too kind. Well, it's funny because when it came to LA 10 years ago, I would walk around and I'd see, these just enormous skyscrapers, these luxury apartment buildings. And then I'd see, people who are homeless living on the street next to it. I'm like, wait a second, this doesn't make any sense. Because I see the money. The money's right there. You can't deny it.
Yes.
And yet somehow there's not enough social safety net for I couldn't grasp it. And that's back when the problem wasn't as dire as it's become.
Right.
That's before the pandemic now. Now with the pandemic, there's a lot of people going, wow, maybe I'll be out there here in a few weeks or a month or two. It's kind of opened a lot of people's eyes. But yeah, I figured we focus on one person. I made a promise to Venka, even though she's up in the Bay Area. Once we get her house, then we'll move back down to my 90028, find the next person, and just keep working on it till their house too, and keep going until nobody's homeless.
I love it.
Well, we're glad to have you on board. Welcome. I'll direct you to the page. This is good for people to kind of hear because basically there's two parts to the process to become a new Hero Tier. You buy a Mark Roman Empire gift card for a minimum of $5. In your case, I'm awarding it to you because you've already been previously generous. And then you complete a small form and it gets critical information because there's a Who page. And you're now part of the Who as far as who are Hero Tiers. So it'll have whatever your public Hero Tier name is with a link to like your website, your Instagram, what have you, which you can change at any point. So that's how that works.
Yeah.
Now, Stephanie, I'm going to ask you a question. This is also, we created this page on Hero Tier. Some might think it's funny, some might not. I'm curious to your take. What's your cup size? And before you answer,
my cup.
let me clarify, because I thought because when you ask people these days during the pandemic, how are you? There's like a deeper question, kind of checking in, and like you kind of gave me a sense. I think I know where you might be at. I created small, medium, and large, so people can kind of like identify. Small, someone who they're in dire economic need. Like Venka is definitely in a small size. No savings, no cash, no income, no credit.
Right.
If you've got medical, it's probably Medicaid, that sort of thing. Medium is someone who that might be, where you're at. And that's where, you've got some resources, you maybe got a little credit, you got a little family, you got some, a circle of influence that a safety net, if you will, to take care of you. You're concerned, maybe your income's stopped, but like you said, you got a roof over your head, you got food to eat, $20, $50 here for a good cause, you could justify, but you got concerns. And then the large is the obvious. It's like Jeff Bezos or under. People have got like 6 months of expenses in reserve, and their concern is, I'm going to have to sell the 7th vacation home in Vail. I like that place.
Oh dear Lord! Yeah. Oh no. However, will we get by?
So, what cup size are you, Stephanie?
I would say my cup size is a solid medium.
Copy that.
I mean, as you understand, as a fellow creative, our work has dried up for the time being. So currently unemployed, but luckily have a partner. I have family and a little bit of savings, so I'm hanging in.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Is your partner, is he a fellow creative, or
he is?
Does he do something else?
He's a writer.
Oh, fantastic!
So, yeah, and apparently they're still. I mean, I guess writing is something that you can do from the confines of your own home. So,
right.
I'm like, no, maybe I should be a writer, which actually is a way that I have been coping with all this new time at home. Is at least as actors, we're always told you have to write your own work. You have to,
right.
And I've been talking about doing it for a long time, but suddenly I've been presented with so much free time. So I have been
Do you know about
with
Medium?
trying to get better at writing my own material, which is both terrifying and a bit exhilarating.
Do you know about the website Medium?
Say that again. Medium?
Medium.
No.
I actually have a profile on there. It's medium.com, and we've got Arc Roman Empire. There's a few articles I've written that, including a few that explain what Hero Tier is all about. Yeah, it's you might look into it and talk to your partner about it. There's a lot of writers and celebrities as well that maybe don't normally write, but when they share something kind of earth-breaking in the normal channels don't make sense, they'll usually go to Medium. But there's a lot of professional writers that are on there as well. So yeah, I've been on it for a few months. I'm now I think I got 2 cents last month for people that
yes.
It's I haven't spent a lot of time on it, but
right.
It's something that's out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you might look into that. I'm sure
writing it. I'm making a note of it right now as you're speaking.
Yeah. So what is your plan now with being at home? Like, do you have swag or merchandise for yourself as an artist that you can offer, or what?
Yeah, actually, I about a year ago I started my own Etsy shop.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I love to draw, and about a year ago I found myself drawing portraits of inspirational women, just as a way to sort of like decompress after a stressful day. And I did one of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and printed it on a t-shirt.
Nice.
And started wearing it, and people were like, "Oh my God, I love your t-shirt. Where did you get it?" And I was like, "Well, I made it."
That's amazing. That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, so I have a little Etsy store currently. It's called WMN Collective, and I do t-shirts, tote bags, and baby onesies, featuring these ink drawings that I do of women who I find inspirational. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, so I've been having and the pandemic has also allowed me a lot more time to work on that. So
right now, how do people get to what website do they enter in to go to your Etsy?
If you just I think it's etsy.com /WMN all uppercase collective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can put this on the podcast page as well.
I'd appreciate that. That would be
awesome. We'll do that for everyone who's been on this episode, because it's all about us coming together as a community and helping each other, right?
Oh, I 100%. It's the only way we're going to get through this.
And how else can people connect with you during the pandemic? Any social media that you're active on?
Oh, say that again. I'm sorry.
Is there any social media that people can connect with you?
Oh, sure. I'm on Instagram. It's at Stephanie Estes, Stephanie with an F. And I'm also on IE, yes, Steph, Stefanie, Estes. And then on Facebook, at official Stephanie Estes.
Nice.
So yeah, I don't do Twitter yet, or I don't know if I ever will.
There's a lot of writers on Twitter.
Yeah, there are. That's true.
There's also a lot of, ugliness there, but
a lot of led by our commander in chief.
Well, yeah, but you can find that everywhere. But yeah, there's a lot of writers that I follow that you can get the sense that their mojo might be. Instagram is nice if you're into just pictures. But
yeah.
people who know how to read and write, they're on Twitter. That's kind of the sense I've gotten over the decade or so. I'm like, I'm on both because I deal in both. I deal in words and pictures.
Yes.
Sometimes the pictures move.
And I will say one more thing. I know people are looking for things to binge watch during this pandemic.
What can we see then?
I have just a small role in a new Amazon show called Tales from the Loop. It's a sci-fi series, which comes out.
Cool.
It comes out April 3rd. I'm in 3 of the episodes.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, very small part, but I really think this series is quite beautiful, and it's not your typical sci-fi. I think it has a really heartwarming and introspective feeling to it, which I think could be very helpful during this time.
What's the name of the show again?
Tales from the Loop.
Tales from the Loop on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for letting me check in with you, Stephanie. It's good to hear you.
I know.
Getting by. Welcome aboard as a brand new hero tier. I'll talk with you a little more about that after our interview here.
Yeah, I'm so pleased to have chatted with you a bit. It's such a delight, especially when we're all confined to our homes. I'm just really enjoying chatting with you.
Me too. All right, Stephanie, I got to run here. Got a bunch of people to talk to, but
all right.
Thanks again for being on.
You're welcome.
And we also got your previous episode that you're on that people can listen to. So.
Yes, with S. Scott McCracken.
That's right. Got it. Thanks, Stephanie.
Bye.
Sean of the Weekend Take podcast, which I've been on. How you doing?
I'm doing as best I can, keeping my chin up during this time, which is not an easy task.
Right? So how have you been managing?
One day at a time is all that I can do right now. As a member of, as a freelance contractor in the entertainment industry, this is not good, and it couldn't have come at a worse time because this is typically the tail end of my dead season as a freelancer, and now it's just the director's cut. Now it's just the director's cut, the extended cut of it, if you will. So I don't know how long the runtime. I don't know how long the runtime is on this movie, but it's already too long.
Copy that. Now, the folks I've been checking in with are mostly previous podcast guests. I've yet to have you on, but now that I'm on the Zencaster here, like as I understand you also use for your podcast, The Weekend Take, I'm looking forward to having you on for a full-fledged episode here in the future. But let's just bring the audience up to speed here. What do you do? And I believe some union membership is involved as well.
Not for me particularly. I'm not a member of any particular union, which unfortunately gives me even less protection during this time.
Yeah.
I guess the only silver lining is that today the House also passed the $2 trillion stimulus package, which for the first time ever will include members of the entertainment industry who have been furloughed and lost work in collecting possibly unemployment benefits, which, I'm never one to take any sort of handout or charity. I always try to work for what I earn, but these are extenuating circumstances. You know,
and what do you normally do? Let the audience know here. What?
Sure. I am typically a cinematographer in the film and television industry. I've been working in the industry as a cinematographer for close to 2 decades now, 18 years.
May. Fantastic. Yeah, I think didn't we meet on was it Stage 32, that social network for creatives?
Yes.
You're out in New York.
Yes, I'm in New York, which apparently is, you know, the biggest population of current cases of the COVID-19. But yeah, we met through Stage 32, kind of in the infancy of that social media platform, which I made a lot of good connections in the beginning. It's kind of been diluted with other people joining lately that are just strictly out for free labor or free promotion. But I do have some genuinely good contacts I've made through it, and you're one of them. So
I feel the same way. Now, are you actually in New York City, or are you somewhere else in the state?
No, I'm upstate. I am around the capital region, around Albany.
Okay.
That's where I was born and raised. I now live about a half hour west of Albany in Amsterdam.
Copy that. How far is that? My son just left. Who's studying at Syracuse. Now he's back home with his mom up in Washington State. But how far is that from Syracuse? Because I know Syracuse is upstate.
Yeah, Syracuse is about just under 2 hours drive west on the New York State Thruway from me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big state running east to west. But from New York City, I'm about, because it's a commute I've made very, very many times in my time in this industry.
I can imagine.
I'm about like 3 hours and 15 minutes from my house to Midtown Manhattan.
Wow. Well, to be honest, that there's people, I've worked on sets here in LA where people have had a similar commute coming from different parts of Southern California. So the things you do to entertain people, right?
Yeah. And, you know, I really feel for all of the colleagues I've made over these past 2 decades that are in New York City that are really hurting during this time because, you know, just the cost of living there is more than it is for me up here. So they're suffering a lot more than I am.
Copy that. Now, I think you've kind of answered it a little bit for me, but a deeper way of me going into and finding out how people are doing is I like to ask, we got a page for this on Here It's Here. What's your cup size? And the question is either small, medium, or large. So small is like no savings, no credit, dire straits, you know, you need the income and it's not there. Medium is you're concerned, you might have been laid off, but you got a little savings, you got a little bit of a credit, but, you know, that's not going to last long. But, you know, $20 here, $100 there, you know, you got it, but you're concerned. Whereas large is you got 6 months or more of living expenses in the bank, liquid, you know, if you had to, you could liquidate some assets to live, but, you know, it's more of an inconvenience than, you know, your life is threatened type thing. So small, medium, large, what fits you right now?
Well, I mean, as I mentioned, this couldn't have come at a worse time. It is the end of my dead season, so right now I am definitely a small cup individual. Typically, I, over the course of the year, set aside a bit of a nest egg just to leg out the dead season, which typically goes from November to the end of March, beginning of April. And I usually come into that end of that season on fumes, and then this happened. So I've been fortunate to speak with all of my financial institutions that I would typically make payments to, like my car payments, my car insurance, my mortgage companies. They've all been very understanding in this crisis, and they've been able to push off my responsibility to pay them for at least 30 to 60 days. The biggest concern is that in 30 to 60 days, I don't see work resuming, and it'll be a whole other, it'll go from small to thimble, I think, in 30 to 60 days if things hold up.
Copy that. Now, how can if people wanted to hire you for services, what services are you able to offer right now, and how would they reach you?
Well, unfortunately, my job as a cinematographer isn't one that can be done remotely.
Right.
But, I do certainly, just out of necessity over the years of this being this industry, working on the size budgets that I have, I do have a home editing suite. So I've done a lot of editing. I do all my editing for my reel. I've done a few films, a couple feature films, and namely, I do all the editing for my podcast, which is kind of the thing that's been saving my sanity during this time, is to just plug away at my podcast.
Copy that. Now, do you have any swag with the Weekend Take or merchandise?
I do.
Okay.
I do, actually. If people check out our Patreon campaign, we have a Patreon campaign for the Weekend Take. That's at patreon.com/The Weekend Take. Patron tiers start as low as $1 per month. We have a $1, a $5, a $10, a $20, and a $50. Each come with their own perks and incentives. But as far as swag goes, every member right out the gate that becomes a patron gets either a Weekend Take sticker or button. We also have T-shirts, and because I'm a cinematographer, I work on a lot of feature films at certain tiers. I think at the $10 tier, you get a Blu-ray of a recent home video release, which right now is
nice.
Which right now of a film that I've shot. So right now that's Broken Swords, which is a kind of fantasy action, kind of like a D&D game come to life film that I'm really proud of, that got distribution. So that's
congratulations.
Thank you. That's the current perk for members at that tier. But we've got all kinds of stuff to offer people. Like I said, I don't like necessarily taking any type of handouts. I like to always work for what I get. So patrons, they're not just giving me money out of charity. They're getting a lot of great content. You can even listen to a certain Mark Roman on a couple episodes.
Right? That was a fun episode. To give people a quick sense, like what's the thumbnail sketch? What's a typical episode of the Weekend Take all about?
Well, sure. Pre-COVID-19, we like to do we were a weekly podcast that broke down the weekend box office results, but looked beyond the numbers to talk about current talking points and trends of the film industry. But we also had a lot of artist and filmmaker spotlight episodes. Since there is no box office to report, we've been relying more heavily on alternative content episodes. We've been doing a lot more artist spotlights through our social media pages. We run fun tournaments that pit some of your favorite movies against each other. So we always have a recap. And right now we're in the middle of our World Series of Cinema tournament, which puts 16 classic baseball movies against each other. And so at the end of all these tournaments, we always do a recap and discussion episode with some special guests. But the thing that I'm having the most fun with right now, that's exclusive to patrons, so incentive to be a member, to be a patron, is I've embarked on a patron exclusive 13 episode series called The Rise and Fall of Skywalker. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I got some like minds together, and we've recorded episodes, one episode for every film in the franchise. That's all 9 episodes. Solo, Rogue One. We're going to do an episode on the Mandalorian series, and then an episode on the future of the Star Wars franchise. But it's some great kind of comedic, witty banter with a lot of fun sound bites and clips thrown in there from all across the Star Wars saga, all over a galaxy far, far away. And so it's been fun having that. It's been probably the most fun I've had podcasting is doing this, just because I'm such a huge Star Wars fan. So, and that's, I said, exclusive to patrons. So.
Oh, well, cool. Well, I imagine we do have some Star Trek fans in the audience, and also fans who are stuck in their home and they're getting sick of, believe it or not, even though there's a wealth of content on the various streaming services, they might want to try something new. So sounds like you're solving some problems with your with what you have to offer patrons there at the Weekend Take. How do people visit the Weekend Take? What's the website?
Well, if you're going to check out our episodes, you can go to our website, which is www.theweekendtake.com. Otherwise, we are on over a dozen different podcast listening platforms, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify to Stitcher, iHeartRadio, numbers of others. All you have to do is go to your favorite one that you use and search The Weekend Take, and you can very easily find us. We're winding down the second season of the show, but there is about, coming up on 70 episodes that you can listen to. And patrons of The Weekend Take also get extended cuts of all of those episodes. So lots more content to each episode than the public gets just by heading up Apple Podcasts. So another perk there.
Well, that is awesome. So guys, go definitely check out what Sean's got to offer there, all his patrons, because it sounds like a lot of you listening to this right now might be in the market for that. So Sean can help you. You can help Sean. Sean's also a hero tier, so thank you, Sean, for being involved with that. And I know that since things are a little tight for Sean right now, if you guys can go, support him on his Patreon for The Weekend Take, that might give him a little more bandwidth, because he has offered to send some of his cool stuff over to donate to Hero Tier for some of the various cards for Hero Tier's contest coming up. So if you guys help out Sean, he can help out Hero Tier more, if that makes any sense. Well, Sean, I got to run. Go ahead.
I was going to say, as far as Hero Tier goes, I'm super thrilled to be a Hero Tier. I know even in times like this, it's tight for me, but I always know that there are people who have it far worse off than I do right now, and that I'm very grateful to even be where I am at this station in life. So being able to help where I can, how I can, especially for people like Venka and Will, I'm very happy to do so. But in times like these are one of those moments where, I hope a little bit of that karma comes back my way, and people who are in an even better station in life than I am at right now can pay it forward and help this artist out.
Well, you definitely have, and I know Venka and Will, they keep expressing to me how much they appreciate all the Hero Tiers, just like yourself. So thank you. Appreciate you taking a few moments out with me here for the quick check-in here on the pod during the pandemic. And stay safe, brother. I'm glad you're in upstate New York. And I look forward to having you back on the podcast for a full-fledged episode dedicated just to you, sir.
All right. I'm looking forward to it too. Also, Mark, thanks so much for checking in. You stay safe as well. And give my best to Lieutenant Frank. I'm a big fan.
I might be connecting with that guy later tonight. Who knows? But I'll pass it on the next time I see him. Thanks, Sean.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mark.
All right, brother. Bye. Deborah and Mars, I finally get to meet for the first time. Well, kind of, over voice over internet protocol. How you guys doing?
Great.
Yeah, hanging in there.
You guys just had like a harrowing experience. Like, I've heard of Escape from LA. You guys escaped from New York, wrapping a film production, right?
Yeah, we just shot my third feature film called Mr. Sister in New York over 2 weeks. 12 in a row with about 3 hours of sleep around.
Wow.
We were the only people on the streets while coronavirus was going on, and we were shooting in tight spaces with about 150 people.
Oh, no.
We even have a friend that died from the disease that was within arm's length away from like people that we were.
Oh, wow.
He wasn't in the film, though, so
yeah,
he wasn't in the film.
We were the last official production to be shot in New York City. Like, there's nobody would have shut down on our last day.
Well, and since we were filming so much, I mean, we were getting like 2 to 3 hours sleep, maybe if we were lucky 5. And so we were hearing about this thing, but we weren't like plugged into the news like everyone else that's panicking, so we were hearing things, and I started, Amazon like sending things to the house here in LA just so we had some stuff. My brother had warned me a few weeks out too, and I kind of like, it's unfortunate because now we're in such an age of social media. You don't always believe everything is as bad as they're saying it's to be.
Right.
So, you know, that part of everyone crying wolf all the time, we weren't, you know, we were kind of unclear as to how crazy it was going to be.
We were in our own war going on because as we were shooting, you know, and I'm spending all my money of my life, all of our money to go and make this film. We're having people cancel left and right. I'm finding new lead actors less than a week before the movie. I'm finding I'm having to get new locations, which are key locations the day of. And at one point, I'm like, we can do anything. We're not gonna stop, you know. And like, so it was crazy. Like, it was crazy going on, and like, imagine like you're on your third day of shooting a movie. You need all your crew, and you get one of your actors keeps freakishly calling you nonstop after we filmed them a couple days before. I'm thinking, why does this guy want to bother me? He knows I'm shooting.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Finally, the message, and the message says, "Hey Mars, you know, I had a temperature and I kept throwing up and I didn't know it was wrong.
No.
But you know, I think it's that contagious, so you guys should be okay." And then I look at my producer and I'm like, are we going to tell the people what the fuck this guy just said? Sorry, my French. And, you know, there was
no worries. This is marked explicit, so you can say all of Carlin's dirty words. Feel free.
I thought, you know, I don't know if the right thing to do would be tell everybody, but I don't know if I'm going to say anything because, like, we're knee deep into this. If I say something, the production's done. But, you know, I'm like, I got to say something, you know? So finally we call this guy up and he's laughing and he says it was a joke. I'm like, what kind of guy leaves a joke like that? Like, I wanted to call the government.
Oh my God.
This guy needs to be quarantined. Listen to his message. But that's the kind of stuff. No sleep, and guys are playing jokes like that on me like 3 days into the show. So it was crazy, you know. It was pretty crazy, and we were all getting sick on set. But we were all like, "Oh my God, do you have it? Do I have it? No, I think it's just a head cold, or I think it's just this." So,
we had,
and you get sick from working on a production. I mean, even just being an actor in a production, and you're not an actor. You're doing everything. You're writing it. You're producing it. Like, it's
totally.
The fact that you even get 4 hours of sleep is amazing.
I had planned to come home sick, like even regardless of this. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
After what I knew, we were in the cold. Sometimes I didn't know how cold it was going to be when we got there, and I knew that I would come home, or at very least after shooting, get sick. And because you're not getting rest, you're not eating properly. You know the life. That's the life, right? So, and so regardless of that, then we got home and I did get sick. There's like one of the girls had a sinus infection. She did go to the doctor when we were there. So I feel like I got what she had. But you know, it's like, do you want to be sick at all during this time? Like, I don't.
Right. Did you have a fever?
Not so far.
I got a really bad cold the last half of February. I couldn't even remember the last time it was like 3 solid weeks where I had no energy, but I didn't have a fever. So I'm kind of wondering, like, and I also have an O blood type, which apparently is the strongest, best blood to have to withstand the coronavirus. So I'm not quite sure, and I hesitate to, like, you know, the medical resources are already overtaxed as it is. So my idle curiosity about what I had seems a very low priority compared to people that desperately need medical services right now. But
right, and that's kind of how we're playing. I mean, we have like self-quarantined, basically. We haven't gone out
right
since we got back. But it's like, you know,
when did you get back?
The 15th?
We got back
or 16th?
No, on the 16th we came back, and like we were thinking they're going to shut down JFK. We're the only people in the airport. Like, we went by like the international flights, and there was not a single person on the platform of JFK where you drop people off.
Wow.
And you know, we got our mask on and everything, and I'm just like thinking, oh my God, it's like seeing Argo when the toll Lamborghini was chasing them. You know, it's like, we got to get on this plane to get out of here, or we're going to be trapped in having to take this expensive rental car and drive it across the country, you know, to get back to work, you know. And it was a freakish time. And then, you know, I would meet people like a good example. We shot in this great bar, Lucky, you know, and like all. I'm getting the messages like, "Nah, you're gonna have a rap party. It's I don't care about this. Like we're all for nothing. Blah blah blah." And then the next morning, sorry, you can't come. Call everybody. It's canceled. Like everybody kept changing their tone. Like information they're getting, and like we had this one bar we were supposed to film at, and then the bar's like, "No, because of this, it's a problem." And I'm like, "But we got a guy that flew all the way from Norway for this," and they're like, "Well, if they flew from out of the country, then we definitely don't want you because that guy has to be contagious." And it was like, wow, man, like a lot of stuff like that, you know. And you know, I had some people with some serious illnesses on set that I'm like, okay, if they're going to be around certain people, they will die. So it's like, it was really like, oh, just our fingers are crossed, we're going forward and hope that we got to do this. And then if that's not enough, being an indie filmmaker, you know, I didn't cheap out on my gear. So we're filming with 2 red weapon cameras, the whole thing with these red prime lenses.
Yeah, nice.
Shooting in 8K RAW, 2 cameras, 8K RAW, and then like my crew's getting tired. They're dropping these $23,000 prime lenses that they don't make any. And I'm like, oh my God, that just cost me $3,000. And then
right.
My makeup artist gets a concussion, you know, like all kinds of stuff happens as we're filming. So it's like, oh man, we just got to stay alive and get this made, you know. And luckily we get everything that we needed, you know. It was like
that's good.
Shooting schedule where, you know, we were shooting about 9.5 to 10 pages a day, you know, sometimes 8 locations in one day.
Wow. Sounds like you guys literally got it in under the wire then, huh?
Yeah, and you know, 8 locations in a day in LA for guerrilla filmmakers, you can do that. But in New York, what I didn't realize is once you get driving in the cars, it could take you 3 hours to go like 10 blocks. It's almost like driving on the 10. Like is really bad in New York. I didn't know that, but it was like really
now you know.
Spaces is a whole other thing, you know. It was like parking was so expensive. Like in New York, like the park, it's like $10 an hour or something like that at a meter. And it's like I remember $30 to park at a meter for a couple hours, and then 1 minute later, I get like a $100 ticket from some guy, like because I didn't go back and change it in time. I was like, I don't remember New York being a car place like that, but they're kind of taking off their LA's model now with all these meter maids and stuff. So that was like a real pain in the ass in trying to make a movie.
Sure. But you guys got it done. How you guys feeling now that you've been back home for almost 2 weeks?
We feel good. We still feel a little bit sick.
Yeah. So that kind of freaks you out. Like I was saying. But it is a relief that we finished. Like that's, you know, I think we'll both feel better when we're like physically feeling better.
Right. I can relate. I was there a month ago. I know exactly how you're feeling, and it's amplified now because of the pandemic.
Right. And you just don't know. You just want to be careful. We make sure we're staying inside and taking our vitamins. And over-the-counter medicines and everything we can.
I will tell you, though, for our point of view, it's the best time for all this to go on because I got back to my job. My job let me work from home. I'm literally waiting for my assistant editor to bring the rushes today. And then it's like, oh, I'm trapped in a house for like maybe another couple of weeks. But I got nothing to do but edit my movie. Oh, my God. It's perfect timing for me. And like I'm also thinking comes time, the festivals, we're either going to be competing with nobody because nobody's going to be making films, or we're going to be competing against all the big wigs that are like delaying their releases and pushing to later film festivals. So it's kind of, or all the festivals that we're going to be hitting up might not be going on. So it's a weird time. It's either going to work to our advantage or disadvantage. I don't know yet.
Right. Well, let me ask you guys, I've been asking everyone this, I set up hereatier.org to help a previous work colleague who was homeless, and since the pandemic, we've upgraded it to help fellow creatives as well. But I realized we just needed a fun way to kind of see where people are at. So I created the cup size page. So I'll ask you, Deborah, Mars, what's your cup size? I might have to explain.
I showed him the explanations. Well, if I didn't have Mars, I would definitely be at small because some of my gigs got canceled. One job was amazing. I don't know if I can say I don't know how that would work for them, but they did pay us out for the gigs that we were booked.
Good.
Which was like angels. Like I could just oh man.
Right.
But it's
everyone does that.
So together with combined, we decided that we're at like about medium-ish.
The thing is, for me, I'm
at money on the movie too.
Well, I'm at medium. They're like, yeah, we're medium for now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm at medium, but I'm also at the point where everybody I knew that needed help, I helped them, and I've never helped that many people so much that I'm done helping people. Like there are extra funds for that. Like, and I knew at the time it wasn't just out of nowhere. Like these were people that couldn't make it to my gig because they needed higher paying gigs and because they're not doing too well and lose their apartments and so on. So like when they reached out, I was able to help them out. But like now I'm like, okay, my funds are going to run out, and I just maxed every credit card and everything. Like for this film, like I've literally got enough to finish this film as I speak, you know?
That's the creative life.
Yeah, and I went to the dolly shop and bought everything they had so that we can survive. Because I heard this crazy deal one day, and, you know, it's all leaked information, probably not accurate. But one was that there's going to be military on our streets here in LA, and we're not going to be allowed to leave our apartment for an entire month. So if you don't have your supplies, you're screwed out of luck. Good luck to you. You know, like that's apparently the information we're supposed to be given in the next couple days. I hope it's fake, but I was prepared just in case, you know.
You don't know these days because, a few weeks ago, we thought all of this was just sheer science fiction fantasy, and yet here we are living it, you know. I mean, they just closed Runyon yesterday.
Yeah,
so I can't even... My gym alternative is gone.
I talked to some friends that said about the curfews in New York because everybody's saying New York is so bad, so bad, so bad. I did know somebody that died there, but at the same time, I'm calling my friends and they're like, I don't know where you're getting the news from, man. You were here when 9/11 happened. It's not as bad as the world's making out. Like everybody's acting like normal, you know? Like so who knows what the stories are? But I did hear about like how you're not allowed to be out after 8. And I said, well, what does that mean? And they said all it means is basketball players. Cops go up to basketball players in parks and say, okay, you guys got to go home now. That's about it. That they don't really go up to like people walking to get the groceries or whatever on the street, like a military zone. It's not as bad as they're making out. So who knows?
It's crazy. Well, I appreciate you guys. I'm glad that you got the footage. I'm glad that you guys are, you know, recovering. Sounds like you got your health. You kind of dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just happy you guys are okay.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
So
but it's I know our listeners are really appreciating. Literally, like you guys were on the ground on the scene, so I think people, you know, can take some solace in the firsthand information you're sharing. So thank you for being there, risking all that, and to be able to be here and share the story.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, and watch out for our film. Hopefully, we'll have our world premiere in September somewhere big or something, and it's called Wonderful.
Yeah, we'll just see how, you know, like we don't.
Now, you guys have previous films. Is there any merchandise or swag connected with your previous works?
You know, people can always go to our scumbag-movie.com website and they can get a hold of me that way. We do have t-shirts for Scumbag with the World Domination Pictures logo for sale. I think $50. They're limited, but
well, they can also watch the movie too, the old movie. But
and you know, I'll save your viewers free money here. You can go and watch Scumbag for free on Tubi.tv or on Amazon Prime if you have an Amazon Prime account. Just look for Scumbag. And my first film is a documentary called The Little House That Could. And there's a website out of Toronto called Mainstream Media Unplugged, msmu.me. And if you do a search for The Little House That Could on there, I think the number is 1080. You can watch it for free on that portal as well. So
okay. But if people want to support you guys and your work and what you're doing, it sounds like the best portal is the Scumbag site. And what's that website again?
Yeah, scumbag-movie.com. And they can get in touch with us on all the social media platforms for the new movie. And it's all at Mr. Sister NYC, MISTER SISTER. So NYC. Did I say that right? I hope so. Mr.
Did.
Sister NYC. That's on Twitter.
Send me the links, guys, and I'll throw it on the podcast page so people can just click it.
We have a lot of links. We have a lot of links.
Send them on down. We got the space. It's a big internet's out there. Well, guys, I got to run here, but thank you so much for taking some time and I think giving us some really valuable information and
thank you
a harrowing experience for sure. You guys certainly got some material for your future memoirs, right?
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm glad you sound like you're doing okay too, despite it all. So
yeah, good
as good as
I am. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I got concerns. My busking and my acting income, which is a lion's share of my income, has just vanished now. But I've been retooling a few things, and fortunately, my expenses are really low and minimal, so it doesn't take much for me to be able to survive. But yeah. I'm really excited about the podcast here and Here It's Here. And Lieutenant Frank just got on Cameo, thanks to my buddy John DiDomenico out of Las Vegas. So
John. We met John.
Oh, you guys know John? Yeah. Oh, he's amazing. He's a Here It's Here, and he's been really generous too. He just donated his shout outs on Cameo normally go for $150, and he just donated for our past operation this week to retain Venka's room, which it worked out well. She's got it for another week. We didn't hit our goal, but we got her some needed financial support. So it's all good, forward positive movement. So it's good stuff.
With all the crazy times right now, we keep hearing about all this free stuff you can go to, like the Paris Opera is free right now. If you go to their website, what is the tickets normally?
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
That's going on right now. I think even Rain Dance is offering free film courses. I might be wrong, but there's a lot of free stuff right now just because people are giving back.
What do you guys know of? If you can shoot me that info, because we've got a resource page at hereitshere.org, the COVID-19 page, and it's got some of the obvious stuff like World Health Organization, CDC, but it's also got a lot of resources like right here in LA, Ground Game LA. I had Ace Catano on earlier. They've got a portal, an intake form, so if you need aid, they can deliver it. If you want to offer aid, they can connect you with those who need it. There's also things like the Actors Fund, the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, a bunch of stuff. So yeah, that free stuff would be fun to add to that page so people can see, you're stuck at home, there's some additional resources that aren't normally available.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll send that out to you.
Cool. Well, I got to run here, guys. Thanks again. You guys are awesome. Yeah. And great to finally connect with you, Mars.
You too.
And I'm looking forward to when I can see you guys at your film premiere. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
I know. Same.
All right. Talk to you guys. Sammy Obeid. Is this the world famous, renowned Sammy Obeid as seen on the brand new top teen sensation show 100 Humans on Netflix?
You say teens? It's also popular amongst older baby boomers as well.
You had to include me in the demographic, huh? Actually, I'm Generation Z, I think. I'm safely between the food fight between the millennials and the boomers.
Yeah.
Which one are you?
I'm Gen Y, millennial.
Copy that. So what's going on with you, Sammy? Can't perform in comedy clubs because the pandemic shut them down. So what have you been doing?
Well, I have been doing some live stream shows. I've been writing. I've been putting a lot of content on my social media, which you can follow me to see.
Sammy nice. How do the good people listening right now do that?
Yeah, so you go on, you grab the thing that's next to you called your phone. And
good to know.
You go to whatever social media apps that you're on, which is probably all of them. And then you put in my name, Sammy, Sammy, and then wait, pause for a moment and see who comes up. It's probably not me. And then you hit a space and then you hit O. And then you'll be surprised to see that I may pop up in the top 5, Sammy Obeid. And
nice.
That's when you know it's me.
Well, you have been popping up in the top 10 on Netflix pretty consistently, I've been noticing. How do you feel about that?
Top 10's not enough, man. I gotta be 1 or 0. I gotta be up there somewhere.
Tell us a little bit about 100 Humans, because you posted this amazing article or blog post on your website, I believe, about all the struggles and obstacles that you went through to get there. But victory lap, brother. Let's do it. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, man. Well, actually, the blog says it a lot better than me. So I highly recommend you read it. It's on my website about how I booked
the website.
So, but basically, you just got to have faith, and you have to keep doing what you do. And people
what's your website
all the time, but that's really what you have to do.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk. What's the website? How do people find you?
SammyKO.com. I know people are probably like shocked that they don't want to hear it from me. They would rather hear it from me than actually read. But believe me, reading is good for you. This is a time now where we have a lot of time to read, and reading will make your mind stronger and prevent you from thinking too much and having dark thoughts. We don't need that right now. We need people to read and be strong. So read my blog on my website, SammyKO.com, about how I book Netflix, and then stay for some of the other articles, because there's a lot of other articles. Like yesterday, I interviewed.
You have a lot of good ones.
I interviewed a Whole Foods employee about the food supply.
I saw that.
I wrote a post about why all of this is happening on an astrological level. Highly ignored. A lot of these posts are highly ignored, which is the people's mistake. And I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm just saying I wish the people paid more attention, because.
Well, I'm paying attention, Sammy. I'm a Sagittarius. What should I be concerned about?
You should be concerned about talking too much. That's what Sagittarians have a problem with. They talk too much.
Fair. Totally fair comment.
Yeah. So yeah, 100 Humans is out, and it's on Netflix, and it's in the top 10, not only in America, but in many different countries. Okay, we're talking Istanbul.
There's other countries out there?
Yes. We're talking Turkey, Israel,
nice.
Even, probably even China. Just kidding. I don't think they have it in China, but Hong Kong has it. It's in the top 10 there. It's in the top 10 in Canada. It's in the top 10 in Sweden. It's hitting all the demographics, and but you got to watch for yourself.
I watched some, and I got to say, as someone who absolutely loathes reality TV, it's a rather Ryan Seacrest and Kardashian free zone. It's fun, it's enjoyable, it's entertaining, but it makes you think. And as you suggested, it might motivate one to actually read an article or two. Questions are stirred.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah, I mean, it's reality TV. It's a little bit of science, a little bit of reality TV. It's the best of both worlds. Some people want it one way or the other. You don't get. You get both. You have to compromise.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, congratulations, brother. Well-deserved success for you. And is it true? Are you still, with the pandemic, because we talked about this when I had you on the podcast way back when, are you still running for president? And what year is it?
2036. Why would the pandemic stop me from that? Unless it kills me. That's the only way it could stop me. If anything helps my campaign. I mean, this has been free advertising for my campaign. Do you want a leader who doesn't fail you in advance? Sammy obeyed.
Now, has your platform changed in any way with the pandemic?
My platform is, my platform still holds true, which is a testament to my foresight. But, I said over and over again, our healthcare system's broken and we need to fix it. And my solution was very simple. It's just that everybody gets on their family's healthcare plan until they're 65. And it works very well. So everybody's covered. Everybody's with the family. Everybody's covered, and basically we take down big pharma. We make drugs a lot cheaper for everybody. And we make
How do you do that?
Well, you'll find out. But basically, I have a lot of ideas. A lot of competitive.
I've heard this before from other people.
Yeah, well, there's all these laws on patents and anti-competitive laws in the pharmaceutical industry. We're going to change that. We're going to completely deregulate it in that sense and make people be able to compete with lower prices. And then you'll be able to get all sorts of cheap drugs, and you realize that they're all trash. And then you'll stop wanting to take them, stop have a crushing addiction to them, and then we'll have healthier people. We're also going to encourage people to be generally healthier by finding parents who feed their kids shit food. So
that I can get behind.
Yeah. People are going to, and believe me, people are going to hate me. People are going to call me food Nazi. Well, thank you. Well, you understand it. You're from LA.
I bought the shirt. I wear it with pride. Obeyed 2036. Now, how do the good citizens get a shirt like that? Or do you have bumper stickers too? What's the swag scene like?
I just realized we are sold out on the website, but I'm going to fix that so you can get some more on the website.
Good problem to have. I mean, you are a big deal on Netflix right now.
Yeah, but listen, I don't expect the people to jump to buy the shirts right now. I don't expect them to be convinced. Now, listen, if you do buy a shirt right now, you're obviously ahead of the game. You're obviously ahead of your time, but I don't expect you to do that. I expect people to start flocking to the shirts in about 4 years.
Now, Sammy,
they've been around since 2016, and you've had one since 2018. So you could say,
right?
Yeah.
Now, Sammy, I got to ask you this. It might sound like a personal question. It kind of is. What's your cup size?
What's my what?
You heard me. What is your cup size?
Cup size?
I'll have to explain. Over at hereithere.org, which we're helping thank a previous colleague from being homeless, getting a home. We've upgraded to help creatives. And I thought, when you ask people, how are you doing? There's a deeper level. So we said, all right, are you a small, a medium, or large? Small means you're financially devastated, no savings, no credit, help, you're drowning. Medium means you're okay, but the loss of income hurts. You've got concerns. Large is Jeff Bezos. You're worried that you might lose the 27th vacation home in Liechtenstein, and that would be disappointing. So small, medium, or large?
I am a medium.
And you say it exactly the way most mediums say it, with a sense of caution, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to be a medium.
Right. Medium for now.
Fair enough. Well, Sammy, I know you got to rush into another thing. You've been doing a bunch of cool stuff. You did some comedy in Hawaii recently, didn't you?
I did. I go there quite often, actually.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What was it like traveling in the last couple of weeks during the pandemic?
It was pretty rough. Actually, I wrote a blog about that too. Look at that. This makes my job so easy. Yes. So I wrote a whole blog about what it's like to travel during the pandemic. And this is, believe me, this is the last time when people were flying freely, and it started getting really scary because now hardly anybody's flying. So I wrote this blog. It's called I Flew Out of San Jose Yesterday. Here's what you need to know about traveling right now. It's from 2 weeks ago, and it's a very, very comprehensive blog of what it's like to travel right now.
That's a good resource. I mean, we might have to put a link to that on the hereithere.org COVID-19 page.
Yep.
Well, Sammy, this has been a delight. Any last thoughts people should know before we let you go to your next thing?
Listen, I care about the people. That's why I'm here. And obviously. I wouldn't be on this podcast if I didn't care about the people, you know? So if you have the instinct to check my stuff out, and if you don't worry, because there will be plenty of time. 2036.
That's amazing. Sammy, I love you, brother. Thanks for spending 2 minutes with us to check in.
Thanks, brother. Love you too, man. I'll catch you later.
Oh, don't you just love Sammy? Sammy's awesome. Oh, so how you guys doing? We gonna pull through this? I think we can. We might need to make some changes, though. Yeah, some people got some splaining to do. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep hero tearing because I kind of feel like once this pandemic's over, a lot of the loving your fellow human is going to kind of slip out the door. Because that's what's happened after 9/11. Yeah. Anyway, we'll figure it out. One day at a time, as the alcoholics say, right? So any links to stuff mentioned in the show, you can find at markromanempire.com. Just a note, if you don't see it there, I try to post a lot of links, especially when the guests have some cool stuff they want to share. So if you don't see it, I continue to update stuff, especially in the first 24 to 48 hours when episodes drop. So just bear that in mind, especially these last 2 episodes with so many guests. Hey, did you know the podcast has a tip jar? Yeah, and since the pandemic canceled my acting and busking income, if you'd like more podcasts, perhaps even with better equipment, your Venmo, Cash App, or even PayPal, you boomers, is truly appreciated. Even $1. Hey, it all adds up. MarkRomanEmpire.com, click tip jar, pardon me. Gotta take a sip of my homemade spa water there with my little tactical straw, as Lieutenant Frank likes to say. Hey, thanks to all our listeners across the globe. I see you, Genk, in Belgium. Am I pronouncing that right? It's Genk. Genk? That's Genk, right? Amsterdam, in New York, and Saipan in the Northern Mariana Islands. Where is that? I'll look that up. That is, excuse me, pardon me. I coughed in my elbow. Still it's like the last vestiges of that cold I had the last half of February. Last little bit of, stuff getting out of my system. I'm good, guys. I'm healthy. I got type O negative blood. I've been wearing my gloves. I've been wearing my mask this morning, although I don't know how effective that is. Apparently, if you don't have the N95, and even that, apparently, the coronavirus is pretty tiny. Yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot of people that need those masks more than I do. That's for sure. But Saipan, you are on this tiny island, literally, well, not quite in the middle of the Pacific. Like due south of Japan, due east of the Philippines, due north of Papua New Guinea. I'm wanting to say you're about not quite a quarter of the way to Hawaii from the Philippines. Wow, that is a lot of water you got around you. I hope the podcast helps distract you from the fact that there's so much ocean and not much land. I went to Hawaii once and it was fun, and I was on the Big Island. But I gotta be honest, the flight in, that memory did not escape me. All this ocean, and then there's just this tiny little speck. We're gonna land on that? Yeah, we're gonna land on that. Wow, I could not live on one of those tiny islands. I mean, it sounds awesome, but nah, I gotta have a serious continent with multiple time zones. That's what makes me feel a little more comfortable. Anyway, hey, are you a hero tier? What's all this fuss about hero tiers? Well, I'll tell you what the fuss is. Hero tiers have been helping house Venka and Will and their little dog Andy since December 2019. Hero tiers have also been helping creatives since St. Patrick's Eve 2020. We need 3,000 people, fellow humans, to help bring Venka and Will and their puppy Andy home we believe we should leave no human outside, even after the pandemic. Also, only Hero Tiers can win cool prizes in the weekly Cards for Hero Tiers game. Yeah, like how about autographed and personalized Hollywood Wolverine photos? Those have been won in the past. You can also get them right now if you want to double down Hero Tier. That's only $40. This week, Corey Showtime Robinson of the Showtime and Kev podcast, he won a personalized shout-out video donated by Lieutenant Frank of Vegas90210.com. Who else won? Oh, yeah, Ace Catano over at Ground Game LA. He won a 77th Academy Awards program. Yeah, donated by Hero Tier Brett Davidson Creative. Yeah, he used to work for the Academy. Hey, Hero Tiers are kind of a big deal. I'm just saying. And we found 44 of them since December. Who's next? Now, whether you need help or you can offer help, or if you're just curious, visit herotier.org and discover more. Hey, did you know you can listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts? Maybe you're doing that right now. Hey, if you are, don't forget to rate and review on Apple Podcasts. Thanks to those who already have. It really helps the podcast grow, bring some new listeners in. You can also listen to it on Mixcloud, Podbean, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and TuneIn. Now that we're getting caught up here, I'll get a little caught up with the Hero Tier. Maybe we'll see about getting on some of the other platforms that are out there, like especially Spotify. And what's the one Ron Burgundy's on? That's it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, I know there's some other one. We'll work on it. We're brick by brick. We're building the empire each day, guys. All right. Now we're also on the YouTube. Yeah, we have the podcast audio on there, but we also have moving picture video content, the interview, rap teasers, and also Cards for Hero Tier videos for those of you who really dig the hands that once hand doubled for Nicolas Cage porn. Because let's be honest, our standards for porn these days have kind of dropped. Huh? My idea of porn is looking at a package of toilet paper. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And I experienced that yesterday at Ralph's. Good times. Yeah. Anyway, I want you to listen on the podcast. And if you go to markromanempire.com, click listen, you can see all the latest options of how to do just that. And to avoid missing out on cool stuff, join my mailing list, guys. The Mark Roman Empire Census. Yeah, no, not that census, not the U.S. Census. This is a different census. This is the Mark Roman Empire Census, okay? And sometimes we have special deals and perks for podcast citizens. This week's Sermo Maximus is for your consideration. Now, you got to check your email for this week's census. Only if you want to win a cool prize to be drawn in next week's Card for Hero Tiers. Didn't get the census? Become a citizen. Go to markromanempire.com, click census. We didn't have a Sermo Maximus winner this week. Now, it was the first week. But, you can't win if you don't enter the Sermo Maximus. So, just saying, guys. All right? I can only do so much. I need your help here. You got to, it's, mano y mano, but social distancing. And you can do that. All right? When you click census at markromanempire.com. Hey, we're on the Twitter at the Mark Roman. I'm not the Harry Shearer. I'm the Mark Roman. Instagram at Mark Roman Empire for the podcast. And Vegas90210 for Lieutenant Frank and the other characters. Hey, what are you talking about? Email your questions to me at romanpodmail@gmail.com. Oh boy, I was supposed to check that this week. And last week. We're going to get to it next week, guys, I promise. All right, catching up here. Got a lot done today. We did some cool catch-up, so I will answer your questions at romanpodmail@gmail.com. I'm giving you some extra weeks here, guys, so I hope I find a bunch of emails that I can answer. Ho! I've been, I'm almost done with the first season of Westworld, which I saw previously back when it first came out 3 years ago. Yeah, at least 3, because it's 3 seasons now. And then I'll be able to jump in and start fresh for the first time, season 2, and then season 3 of Westworld. So I'm really digging that show. It's I don't know. There's a lot of, when you see what we're doing with the pandemic and how our systems that we thought were so badass and awesome are just completely failing, and we're literally being brought to our knees as a civilization. Because I don't know how else to put it. We're pretty fucking arrogant as a culture. I don't know. Be kind of interesting to see if we actually learn anything from this whole thing. Start treating our fellow humans better. Yeah, as it turns out, when you neglect the lower class and you let people dwell in poverty, really bad things happen. Yeah. Even to the middle class and the upper class. Yeah, it's not good to have people homeless. It's not good to have people sick, because it creates additional problems for the rest of society. So, you can continue to be super selfish, but that now kind of obviously includes recognizing that we need to eliminate homelessness and we need to eliminate the poverty class. It's not good for business. Can you understand that, Jeff Bezos? I'm sorry. I know you're a humanitarian whose company pays no taxes. We get it. Yeah. I'm never going to have a TV show on Amazon now, am I? That's why I'm building an empire, kids. That's why I'm doing the podcast. And until next week, it takes a busker. Remember our fallen busters: Clownelyn Monroe, Prince St. Paul, Christopher Dennis, and Alexander Desser. No fear. Hero tier. I am the Mark Roman.